Welcome to the Synthetic Electron 3D channel. Have you ever left your printer door open and bent down to reach something you dropped and then boom, you hit the door? Isn't it just maddening? It just makes you want to tear the door off. Well, even if you can't identify with that, I certainly can. There's a little bit of a backstory behind it, so we're going to cover that. In the process, I'm going to show you exactly how I implemented this quick release door so you can do the same, and I'll include a printable model as well as a bill of materials in the description. So let's get started. If you've been with the channel for a while, you'll probably recognize this video. This is the first attempt that I made at a quick release hinge. Now, I found that this hinge worked fine at first. Somebody even gave me a generous 5-star rating on Printables. But over time, I found that the hinge didn't hold up very well, at least in PETG. The problem is that there's just not a whole lot of room in there, and to reproduce the OEM hinge is asking a bit much from a 3D print. But as I gain experience in reverse engineering components for 3D printing, really the original part is just a guideline, and you have to think about the process that you're using. Most importantly, don't subject yourself to the same limitations that the OEM had when they were originally manufacturing the part, because 3D printing is different. I attempted to be cognizant of this with this new hinge design, but I also used some hardware that is new to me. A little hardware component called a ball plunger enabled me to retain the door side of the hinge and redesign only the chassis side of the hinge, which was a little bit easier from an additive manufacturing perspective to implement. One thing I didn't have a good feel for in the beginning was how stiff my ball plungers needed to be, and they're typically rated in newtons and include two force values. There's the initial force and then there's the end force, so once the spring is fully depressed. The parts that I initially tried didn't provide enough force, and they also didn't have the correct case design, which we'll get into a little bit later. But ultimately, they weren't stiff enough to keep the door from falling off, which, as you might expect, is a problem. At that point, I didn't have any other ball plungers, so I decided, well, I'll just use a pin in combination with a ball plunger on the bottom hinge, which works fairly well in practice, but ultimately, using a different kind of ball plunger is what turned out to be the very best option. First, you want to have the correct spring force, and for me, it was 3 to 14 newtons. But also, the case design of the ball plunger is important. Some have a lip, others are simply tapered. Much like a ballpoint pen, that taper is important in this case because the hinge can fit over that tapered edge, and it'll hold the door more securely. However, due to variations in materials from the filament to the dimensions of the ball plungers that you use, you want something that's actually adjustable. And that's why I settled on ballpoint set screws, which are just a variation, a threaded version of the ball plunger. This enabled me to fine-tune the fitment of the door, so most importantly it wouldn't fall off, but also so it was still easy enough to pop off and set aside. Now let's run through the process of uninstalling the door and the chassis side of the hinges and then preparing the printed hinges for installation in the chassis. First, we'll start by removing the 4 screws that hold the door to the hinges. Then we'll remove the 1 screw for each top and bottom hinge on the chassis side. That's it. Pretty easy. Assuming you've already printed your replacement hinge set for the chassis side, let's go on to preparing them for installation. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that. It only takes about 20 minutes. So here we have one of the mounts. They're both set up for an M4 insert. This one's the top and the bottom is a little bit wider, but basically the procedure is the same. This is my trusty set of inserts here, and I'm going to pick 2 M4x4 inserts. This set came with various tips for the various sizes of insert, and I put the M4 size on my soldering iron and preheated it to 300°C. It should be noted that these particular mounts are printed in a generic PETG material. In order to prevent material from gumming up the threads on the insert, I'm going to insert an M4 machine screw in the other end of the insert as I press it into the mount. I found that these ballpoint set screws really don't like gummed up threads, so you're well advised to keep those clean as best as possible. This insert will be holding a 4x6 ballpoint set screw. That is an M4 thread. And now, since it's installed, let's remove that machine screw. And once you've verified that the threads are clear, go ahead and proceed with inserting the ballpoint set screw, as I'm doing right here. It should be noted that you will use the same procedure for both of these mounts, so I won't bore you with doing both in the video here. Just repeat the steps that we've already gone through. Getting the position of the set screw right initially is a bit tricky. Just do your best. We will adjust this later. Moving on to installing the mounts in the chassis. I'm starting here on the bottom mount, and I've got a 16mm M3 machine screw with a countersink head. Both mounts use the same machine screw, and you'll want to snug them down, but don't over tighten them. And by that I mean they shouldn't move around easily when you try to twist them. Now, this is assuming that you've installed your hinges back onto the door. That is the side that was originally on the door, and you've removed the chassis side of the OE hinge. It's basically the reverse of when you took it off, aside from removing the nut on the original. And as you do this, you'll need to adjust and repeatedly fit the door until you get it right. You don't want it too loose, obviously, because your door could fall off. But you also don't want it too tight because it'll make it difficult to get it on and off. Just a warning, you may want to use some thread locker on the set screws because they may loosen up with repeated use, and if they loosen up too much, you could potentially lose a door. So keep that in mind as you move forward with this project. Should be noted that this doesn't have the damping from the washers on the original OEM hinge, so the door is going to swing a little more freely, and that's not really a problem, at least for me, but it's something you do need to get used to, so keep that in mind as well. At the end of the day, this is a fairly easy and inexpensive upgrade that offers a lot of utility. All you really need are your M4x4 inserts, a matching soldering tip for insertion, and M4x6 ballpoint set screws. That brings us to suitable materials, and I recommend PETG or PETG CF, which seems to be a great starting point. I don't have any experience with long-term use on that front, so creep could be an issue, but you can also use ASA, polycarbonate, or any number of other materials. Just don't use regular PLA. A basic rule of thumb should be that you don't use regular PLA for chamber side mods, in my opinion. One final note is that this should work on the Centauri Carbon too. As far as I know, the chassis is the same. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. Well, that just about wraps this video up, but if you found this useful, please click that like button, and if you'd like to see more videos like this one, click subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.